Sasha, I'm Yossi Friedman, Executive Director of Project Inspire, and I had the great honor a year ago to sit down with your mother in Kibbutz Nir Oz, the backdrop really of the kibbutz, how it looked then. And I just want to thank you for doing this interview. I know that it's been a whirlwind since, but I don't think that you could possibly comprehend how inspiring you are. Not that you're trying to be and not that you see yourself as that person, but you just being you are an extremely inspiring individual. And I know that myself, as well as many tens of thousands that will be watching this video, are very inspired by you as a person.
I hope I will inspire some people. It's the only thing I can do with what happened in order to make it a little bit better. And because you cannot erase the past, but you can control the future and what you're doing with what happened to you.
Wow. So I also want to mention that Danielle Hass, who was really coordinating this out of Israel, and she is a woman who she had obviously wanted to be here with me, but she said that your mother continues to be an inspiration for her. She is really her hero. She's in touch with her through the good, through the bad. And so she too is a real inspiration for many people as well.
Yeah, she is much better than me. She is a very kind, loving person. She became much more connected to her roots and to other people. She really, their only objective in life right now is to do good to other people. She really believes that Hashem has a plan for everybody, and hers is to bring as much strength, hope, and good things to people by sharing her story, her way of dealing with it. And she always happy to go to events. Although it's hard for her, this traveling and everything, she goes and talks to people and shares her story. And it's amazing to see. She really is trying to reach as many people as she can.
We'll get to you in a minute, but when we're speaking about your mother, did she become a person that you almost don't recognize throughout this whole story?
Yeah, my mother changed dramatically. Before October 7, she was very private person. She didn't really like to be engaged with other people. She had a little team with me, her and her father, and me a little bit. I wasn't so involved as a grown-up, and I had my things going, and they were together. They were a big team, and that's all they needed. And after what happened in October 7, my dad's passing and everything, something changed together with her internal change and her growth as an individual, becoming a much more believer in God and becoming much more connected to their inner self, and in a way finding her course in life and her purpose as she sees it, and her view of life changed so drastically. She also found a lot of comfort in other people's love, affection towards her. A lot of people helped her during this tough time. She could not do it alone. Not only my girlfriend, which is now my fiance, Sapir, also Toda Rabba, thank you. Also friends who become real friends. People who didn't know her, really connected to her and become real friends that are still today helping her. Not in the way, they see her as a poor soul. Actually, they see her as stronger than everybody else. But the thing is that they really are connected to her and trying to be friends with her, and she's trying to be friends with them. And it's amazing to see how her circle of people that are knowing her, care about her, and with her grew so much. And I think that it's a reflection of her inner growth. Before that, part of her being so private, part of her being so not approachable towards other people, made other people not to approach her and made her life closer. When she opened up from within towards other people, when she felt a lot of confidence of herself, of what she is, and to be vulnerable in front of other people, to want other people to feel better, to do good for them as well, people felt the same way towards her. And it became like a thing that feeds itself. And I can see it with my mother is a great example of a person who decided, I'm going to open up to other people. I don't know if she did it consciously or she just did it from her emotions and how things involved. But I can say to you that I think that it's work both ways. It cannot just start from one of them. It's not only consciously and not only your feelings and emotions. It should start from within as a process. And it's such a beautiful thing, and she affected so many people, and so many people talk about it. But I think that not many people talk about how much people affects her,
Right.
and how much she learns from them, and how much strength we gather from them, and how she's grateful for everybody's help and the people who supported her in these difficult times. So I think it's a good time to say in her voice, although it's me saying it, but I know she would say that it's a big thank you for everybody that contributes to her being able to handle everything she needed to and support her in this difficult time.
Wow. Sasha, could you take us back October 7th, Simchat Torah? You're living in the Tel Aviv area and you came to visit, to be with your mom for the holiday.
Well, my mom and my dad, we came, me and Sapir, to the kibbutz on Friday, October 6th. Actually, as usual, we would come once every 2 weeks, something like that. At that weekend, I didn't want to come. I felt a strong feeling of not wanting to be there. I don't know why. I don't think I foreshadow it. Nobody could, but I just didn't want to be there in the kibbutz. I really didn't. But Sapir convinced me to come, and I agreed, of course, and we came. I met with my friends there. I met with, of course, my parents. We had a shishi dinner. Then I went to see my friends, and we woke up on Saturday morning when rockets started firing at us. It wasn't the first time. I wasn't so nervous about it. It happened before. I was pretty used to that. Unfortunately, we didn't have a safe room in the guest room we were staying at, and I knew you visited. So we didn't have any other choice. I just told Sapir, relax, it's gonna stop. And when it didn't, I said, well, it's maybe better to take cover in the safest place we have in the room, which is near the wall in the corner of the room. And we put the bed above us because if the rocket will fall on the concrete above, we will not be hurt or die from the debris that is falling. We didn't have any other option. We couldn't find any spare moment to go to my parents' safe room. And we waited out.
Just so that people understand, it's like 20 meters.
It's like aerial 20 meters, but it's very close.
But
like
it was
50 meters,
it was
100 meters.
ongoing. I mean, your mother was looking at your guest room entrance from the window
Yeah.
of her. That's
Yeah,
how
yeah.
close it was, and yet there was no break that was long enough for you to even get there.
Yeah, we felt that it's not worth the risk. We didn't know what is going on in the kibbutz. We couldn't imagine the terrorists will get inside. Actually, I started getting text messages from my friends. At the beginning, they were concerned about what is happening. They saw in the news, but they didn't know about the terrorists. One of my friends, who is in the quick reaction force of the kibbutz, the force that is responsible of guarding the kibbutz in this kind of
Kitat
situation, the Kitat Konenut. There are not many of them, and he wasn't present in the kibbutz. A lot of them got killed and kidnapped or just killed in October 7th, trying to protect the kibbutz and fighting the war that nobody else could have fought because the army wasn't there. He sent me a message. He wasn't in the kibbutz at that time, but he got messages from this Kitat Konenut, quick reaction force. And he told me there are terrorists in other kibbutz, in kibbutz Be'eri, and then he told me there are terrorists as well in the kibbutz. And I said, wow, it's a new thing. I'm not prepared for that. But I couldn't imagine the magnitude of the situation. I thought, okay, maybe a unit, maybe 8, 10 maximum terrorists got inside the kibbutz. How many can they be? And I thought that the army will come. I didn't imagine that all the south, like all the the Gaza envelope area is being attacked at the same time. I thought that we are the unlucky ones that terrorists came towards us. Anyway, my mother after a while sent me a message about the terrorists going in front of their house. As Anu stated, it's very close to the guest room we were staying at. I knew that they are close. Before this message, a little bit, me and Sapir started hearing voices, screams and shots and everything. And we had an argument. I thought the army is fighting those terrorists and we are hearing some Hebrew, some Arabic, something like that. She said, no, it's only Arabic. They are the terrorists, they are the Arabs. I said, no, it cannot be. There must be army fighting them. And a little bit before they started breaking the door open, I remember that I heard sounds of engines, like motors. In the beginning it was a car, a vehicle. I said, that's a little bit weird, but maybe it's a vehicle of the army. But then I heard the sound of a motorcycle. And that's the moment I said, well, this is a problem. There shouldn't be a motorcycle driving around the kibbutz at that time. Army don't have drive around with motorcycles. And after a very short period of time, we started hearing the terrorists trying to break the door of our guest room. And I remember sincere sense of fear, shock, inability to think. I couldn't do anything. I didn't have any way to protect myself. Of course, not Sapir as well.
Just so the viewer understands, the entire guest room is a room.
It's a room.
It's
yeah.
a room with a little, if I remember, a little kitchenette. It was like a hot water
It's
urn in the front.
6 feet or 6 feet, something like that, very small.
So there's nowhere to go.
No way to go, nowhere to go. Not there's nowhere to go. There is no way to protect yourself. I don't have any arms. I'm not a position in this room to. I don't know how to operate a weapon. But even if I had one, I will figure out how to operate it. But the room built in a way that I cannot even protect myself. One grenade thrown to the room, we are both dead. It's so small. So I knew that there is no way to fight it out. And I had no means to do that as well, thank God, because maybe if I did, because of the sense fear and shock and stress and desire to get out of the situation, maybe I would choose a stupid way of trying to fight it out and we'll both die eventually.
I want to ask you one question about that. What happened is what happened. But do you ever stop and realize that in that tiny room, with all these terrorists flooding that little room, there were gunshots, if I remember, in the door,
Yeah.
in the hot water urn in the kitchen, which means this was like a foot or two from where you were. Do you realize what a miracle it is that you're alive?
So I will tell you the real miracle, because the terrorists that came, it's least as it seems, at the beginning would have killed us because they couldn't break the door, but they didn't have guns. Because if they did, they will shut the lock. And they left. But after a minute or two, they came back, immediately shut the lock and got inside. Which means that probably some armed terrorists joined them. And the terrorists that came at the beginning weren't actually from any organization. They were like civilians. And what happened in this room is that the first terrorist who came was a armed terrorist from Islamic Jihad. Sapir was in the covers, so she couldn't see. But I saw under the bed his boot, and he got inside the room. He found us very quickly. As you said, it's a very small room. He took us out from the place we were. I immediately stood up and put my hands up and started telling him in English, because I didn't know Arabic at that moment, that we are civilians, leave us alone, we are innocents. He didn't care. He started shouting things in Arabic, and he called a bunch of other terrorists that were waiting outside. As I remember it, another terrorist armed one came, and a bunch of terrorists that were not armed but with knives and things like that came as well. And they started making mayhem in the room and shouting and screaming and everything. I understand that he's not going to leave us alone. So at that point, me and Sapir weren't wearing much clothes because we slept before. She was wearing a very small pajama. There is a photo of her actually very viral on a bike. There is a girl on a bike holding her head, and there are terrorists in front and in the back. And she is in the field, like driving. It's her. And I was very concerned about her being taken this way or being seen this way. I didn't know what they're going to do to her. I didn't want them to see her this way. I started to tell them, bring your clothes in English. And they were shouting things in Arabic. I will tell them, bring your clothes. In the end, what happened is that they throw a pair of jeans at me, which was mine. She could not wear it. It's much bigger than her, though. So I put it on, and they told me, get on the ground, told me with the gun and with hand gestures. And so I did, and I kept saying them, give her clothes, give her clothes. One of the terrorists from behind, the one without a gun, decided that it's taking too long, so he punched me in the face. In that point, I understood that things are not. It's getting worse and worse. They're losing patience. They're losing the ability to understand what I'm saying. It's not going anywhere. Yeah, they are getting frustrated. So I got up, and she was taken by the terrorist out of the room as she was, and I got out and was taken by other terrorists. On the way out from the room, on the entrance, one of the terrorists from behind decided to stab me. He actually tried to kill me in the end, because when I got stabbed first in the left shoulder from behind, I didn't understand it a stab. It felt like a very strong, concentrated punch. I felt like I didn't understand what is going on. If I would be punched, I would not turn around because I felt something weird. I never felt this kind of pain before. And I turn around and I see him with a gun, with like a face very like angry, and one other terrorist holding his hand and trying to stop him from killing me, from stabbing me even more. So for this reason, I said before that if those people will come at the beginning, we will be dead because they didn't want to take us alive. They just wanted to kill us. Even when I was walking, I already been taken. There is no danger from me. He wanted to kill me because he didn't want me to be taken alive. And I remember that Sapir was separated from me a little bit after we got out from the room. She was taken a little bit to the right, as I remember, by another group of people. And I was then, my head was taken down, so I would not look around. And I was moved ahead around maybe 30 meters towards a motorcycle. Actually, the motorcycle was parked on the safe room, near the safe room of Simantov family, which is the family where they just killed all of them. They killed the mother, the father, and the babies. And they were just 30 meters ahead from us. I didn't understand what is going on. As I said, I was in very complete shock and panic and stress, and I just thought how I can get myself and Sapir out of the situation. At least I can get Sapir out of it. I didn't want her to be taken away. Of course, I didn't want to be taken away as well, but I felt a sense of responsibility towards her as well, like I should protect her. And I decided, because I thought that there is the only group of terrorists that in the kibbutz and we are the unlucky ones, at least this is what I thought, to shook myself from this group and run the opposite direction from where I saw they took Sapir. I thought that by this way I will give them an incentive to run after me. She will maybe can get out of this group and to go to the army, which I didn't know where it was, but I thought it's in the direction that she was taken to, at least a general direction. But immediately when I shook myself from those terrorists and I started running and lift my head up, I saw the different case than what I thought at the beginning. I saw so many terrorists in front of my eyes, destroying porches, lighting things on fire, trees, everything. And only in 50 meters run, something like that, before I got stopped in front of my parents' house by two other armed terrorists, this is what I saw. And I understood that the situation is far worse than I thought. The group that was holding me before and took me towards the bike, immediately when I started running, they started shooting at me. They didn't hit me because I was running, but they chased me. And I was stopped by those two armed terrorists and they catch up to me. I turned around towards them and I lift my hands again. And they just shout things in Arabic and then they shoot me in both of my legs. Fortunately, the bullet on the right leg pierced only the flesh and the muscles, so it hurts, but not as much, and I could still stand. But when the bullet in the left leg hit me, immediately I felt a sharp, very strong pain, and I fell to the ground because the bone broke completely and my leg bent. At that point, when I fell to the ground, they also hit me with the back of the rifle in the back of my head, opened it up. They tied my hands behind my back after all of this, although I couldn't do anything. The pain was enormous, and also I was pretty numb because all the hits that I got. And they told me, like, get up, and I tried, but I couldn't. I thought myself, I have to get up. If I'm not gonna get up in this moment, I will die, but I couldn't. And I said, I can, like in English. And they just picked me up and put me on a motorcycle. And all of this is happening in front of my parents' porch. And then they put something on my head so I would not see, but unfortunately I could see everything. And when I was driving through the kibbutz, because my parents' house was in the middle, I saw so many houses of people that are now deceased, or not all of them, but a lot of them are deceased, being burnt. I knew them very well. The people that I grew up with, like people that when I grew up were in the kibbutz. All of them are older than me, but some of them are very old. Some of them are like 50s. Purchase burning, houses burning, terrorists running around, destroying everything. When we got out of the kibbutz on the way, I told the terrorists, like, from the back. He told me, it's okay, you're okay. I said, no, just kill me and that's it. I don't want to go through that. I thought that I'm already dead. I was so wounded, I thought they don't want to take care of me. They're just going to take a video of me, post it I'm alive and just kill me. Because I didn't thought they would have the will to deal with me even a little bit. I remember that I told him, just leave, just kill me, leave Sapir, let her go, just take me, I don't care, but let her go. When we got to the border, which is not far, like a 10-minute drive, even less.
You could see it from the back, basically from the back of your mother.
I would drive there with bikes a lot of time. There are a lot of fields and
Right.
orange fields and
I think people
everything.
don't realize just how close you could literally see it across the
Yeah.
field.
When I was a kid, I had a telescope, like a small one. It's not very good, but I would look at Gaza from my kibbutz to see what is going on. I couldn't see much, and I didn't understand what I'm seeing.
But
But
that's how close it is.
yeah, it's very close.
Wow.
2.7 kilometers. And near the border, the bike fell. And I don't remember seeing much because I was in such a pain and I couldn't really understand what is going on. But I remember the voices of people starting gathering around me and shouting things in Arabic. And only after I understood that there were a lot of civilians celebrating and taking pictures of being on the other side of the border and everything. And they started gathering around me. And I started feeling kicks and punches and everything. I didn't feel pain at that moment. I felt so much pain anyway. It wasn't like anything close to being.
They weren't hurting you.
Yeah, they weren't hurting me as being shot in the leg, and
Right.
you know, it was a different kind of pain. But I felt the punches and everything. I said to myself, well, this is the place I'm gonna die, but at least I'm not in such a pain. So I said, well, this is it. But actually, the terrorists themselves separated me from this crowd, and they needed to put me in a vehicle that drove me to Gaza. At first, they put me in a house, mended my leg. They bandaged all my wounds, my head, my shoulder, and my right leg. And the left leg, what they did is put 2 sticks and wrap it around with a rope so it wouldn't move so much. Then they moved me from this place to another place. In that place, they gave me a sort of IV because I was so dehydrated and I lost so much blood. And they took out the sticks and exchanged it with a grill piece from the oven. There is a grill thing, the grill net. They cut it to shape and they bend it and wrap it around my leg. And this is the way I was for a week. And the problem with that is, first of all, the bandage itself they wrap it around with is elastic. So it doesn't really hold the leg. So every time I needed to go to the bathroom and I will jump on one leg, my leg would move. It will be very painful. The second thing is that this grill thing gets inside your flesh. So it's pressing it, and after being like that for day after day, it's getting inside your flesh, and it's very painful. But the pain wasn't the problem, although it's very hard to sleep like that. It's very hard to go through day by day like that. And I didn't have any painkillers, any nothing. The problem is that in a normal situation, when this kind of thing happens to you, even when you break your leg, you go to an hospital and then you go to your family, someone taking care of you, helps you a little bit. You understand that you're in a situation with people that don't want to help you. You understand that you need to minimize as much as you can the help you're getting. You actually think about how many times I will go to the bathroom. I don't want to eat that much because although at the beginning, at this first week, I had 3 meals a day, I would not eat much because I didn't want to go to the bathroom. I didn't want to be a burden, and it's very hurts to sit on the toilet when your leg is bending a little bit, and you need to, and you didn't want to go through that. You don't want to drink so much because you don't want to go to the bathroom and be a burden because you cannot get up by yourself. Your other leg is also hurts. It's not as the left leg, but it's still being shot as well, and it takes some time for the wound to heal so you can jump on it. So you need someone to carry you, and it's painful. But in a weird way, the pain was an escape for me from the mental state that I needed to deal with, because I also understood that from now, I'm maybe not going to see my family again, maybe not going to see my loved ones again. And I knew that Sapir was taken, and I hope that she is still alive. But I knew that my family is also or killed or being taken. And my grandmother was in the kibbutz. I knew that for sure she would not be able to hold the handle of the safe room, so she will be taken. And my parents, I didn't know what happened to them, but I really feared that they will be killed. And actually, my father got killed that day. I didn't have nobody to share this with. I couldn't complain. I couldn't, I showed sometimes weakness because sometimes I cried, but I tried not to do it as much because every time I did it, I felt that I um, showing a way to be bugged, and I didn't want to add more hardships on myself. I needed to depict myself as strong as I could, and it was very hard.
Right.
And I couldn't understand what is going on because I didn't know Arabic, and all of them talk in Arabic, and you don't have a way of understanding what's happening. You don't know if you have a way to have a connection. You don't have any way of sharing your feelings or thoughts and depression, despair. You, along with this, with a group of people that is guarding you, is doing everything for you, is the ones that are responsible for everything that's happening in your life right now, even death, and they don't want to do the good job,
Right.
which is a very,
Trying
very
not to
hard
do it.
situation. Yeah, it's a very hard situation to be at.
Sasha, you're depicting a situation where I think everybody watching this is wondering, like, it didn't get better after that, meaning the more loneliness and more being on your own and more not knowing of when and if this is ever going to end and not knowing what happened to your family. How did you find the courage, the faith, the determination to be able to see this through? What were some things that helped you get to a place that you were able to handle this and come out?
So I think that I had a very rough start, and it became harder and harder. And being alone in this very hard scenario and very hard conditions actually contribute a lot to this growth and mental growth and spiritual growth that helped me a lot, because the incentive at the beginning was trying to find a way to ease myself a little bit, to find a way to escape from these hardships in this physical war that I'm experiencing and my mental struggle that I needed to deal with. And I needed to grow my strength, and I couldn't find a way. I didn't know how to do it. And I tried every day. After the first week, I was taken to an hospital and then was brought to a new place, and I started learning Arabic there, which I gathered a way of communicating, but also I learned a little bit what happened in October 7 and everything like that. So it was a good, important step towards making it better. But it only was a way to make me feel a little bit calmer. But it was far away from making me cope with the situation. And I thought what I can do, what I can do. And during the days that I were alone, I thought a lot about my family, my girlfriend, a little bit about my friends. What I did in my life and everything went away very fast. And I never prayed before. I wasn't subjected to any orthodox religious content before in my life. Only in the army I met people that are religious, but I never talked a lot about this subject, a little bit, but not so much. Of course, I didn't know how to pray. I didn't know what is Psalms is, what is Tehillim. I never opened this book before. I never seen it in someone's house before, I think. This kind of not connected. But I started thinking about them, and I started in a way kind of praying. I found myself saying I should structure it around, and I started praying, and I said to myself after a while, why are you praying? You don't believe in God, you never believed in Him. But in a weird way, I was very honest with myself. I said, I have nothing to lose. You know, sometimes in life, we are not honest with ourselves because we want to depict kind of a picture toward other people. You're doing yourself a calculation about what good you are doing, what bad. And I was very honest with myself. I said, this is maybe my last moments. At least let me be honest with myself. I have nothing to lose. I don't need to show myself towards nobody. Only towards the terrorists that were guarding me, but I was alone for many hours, so I could just shift what I'm depicting towards outside. And I started thinking, and I said, wow, I don't know why, but it's very helpful. I'm getting a lot of calmness. It always recalibrate my compass. When I feel sometimes frustrated and everything, I kind of escape from this frustration, and I value a little bit more what I have by thinking about them, by trying to hope and pray for their safety, for their wellness and being and everything, and of course for my own. But I felt it really helps me to cope with that. And after a while, I started thinking about life itself and what our purpose in this life, because I said to myself, I thought about, well, I used to think a lot about waking up, doing things for myself, advancing work, what I'm gonna eat, and go to sleep. It sounds like an animal. I described an animal in the end. I'm not about work, but I only try to accumulate more to myself. I look at work as trying to accumulate for myself. I didn't look at it as trying to do better for other people. And I felt that all of this went away. It didn't matter. After what happened to me on October 7th and everything, and I saw my life is ending, it didn't matter. And I told myself, no, I understood that the only thing that really matters is how much you affect and do for your close family and friends, but also towards other people in general, and how much you pursue the things you find important in life. And I think this is one of the godliness we have in this world, that everyone is different, which means everybody have different purpose and different appeals, different things you want to change in this world, different things you want to correct. And I believe that if you are pursuing your intuition towards it, you are fulfilling your purpose.
And this is what was coming to you while you were there.
A lot of reflection about life, about what I experienced on my own for the 27 years I had before, dealing with the fact that I'm going to die. Not a lot of people have a long period of time to be alone before death. Wow. A lot of people actually before death starts to try and do things and be with their family. I was forced before death, in a sense, to be alone and reflect about life and do things that will eventually lead me to these understandings.
And you were in a position where at any moment that can come.
Yeah, I was accepting that. Actually, after Sapir and my mother and my grandmother was released, it gave me a lot, because every time I wanted to complain, I understood that I prayed so much for their release, for their return. So it gave me a lot of strength to say, okay, I got what I wanted, but now you cannot complain anymore. You are not going to complain about anything. And every time I had hardships and I had so many things going through when I was there in the captivity, I told myself, no, you got what you wanted. You wanted for them to get out. Your life will be given to you, I hope. But if not, you cannot be angry about it. It's not the way the world works. Not everybody live to 120. And you need to try and say, thank God you had the opportunity to be more aware of godliness in the world, and be very happy about what you did experience in the 27 years, to appreciate what you have, and the ability to have those, it was 70 days, 100 days, I don't know, those days to really do something good towards your family and loved ones. Because in the end I felt that maybe because I prayed for them a little bit and I really tried from my heart, from my soul, to do something good for them, it helped for their release. And I said, I did something good in my life, and this one is marked for me. It's like important, and it's something that goes on with me. And it was an amazing thing.
Sasha, you come out of captivity to 498 days of captivity, to a world that you might not have known, prayed for you every day. So many thousands of people around the world did everything in their power, and around the world. What did that mean to you, knowing that while you were going through this all, you really weren't alone in some sense, because there were thousands and thousands of people who were with you?
When I was there, I thought that Sapir went on with their life. I started depicting what she's doing in my head, thinking maybe she got a return to work, maybe she's doing this and that. After a while, I even thought that she's not waiting for me anymore. But if I thought about this about Sapir, I didn't think that anybody in the world will care so much about us, the hostages, and will pray for us and think about us daily. And I couldn't imagine. And when I came out, I learned about it in Israel, and they told me, my friends and family told me, you know how many people cared about you, you know how many people know you because they prayed for you, they thought about you daily. And I said, no. And they told me, you are famous now. I said, wow, I don't know. I don't care about being famous. I don't want to be famous. But I cared about people caring for me. I cared about people praying for me, although they didn't know me. And the more I got out there and be interacting with people and learned how deep they got, they learned so much about me. They really knew who I am. So they're so emotional when they meet me. I said to myself, wow, I believe in humanity. In a sense, what happened to me on October 7th and everything that followed made me a little bit be frustrated with humanity. I said, this is humanity. This is what we have. Wars, fights, killing, hatred. But when I came out and saw the love, the free love that I got from people that didn't know me, it gave me this hope in humanity, even more than I hoped for. And it gave me so much strength to heal and so much desire to go out there and spread the story to make more people aware about what happened in October 7 and everything that followed, but most importantly, to strengthen people in their own life challenges and to make them more aware of what they may do to improve their situation and encourage them to connect more to their soul. It's very important. People go to the gym. It's important, go to the gym. But it's also important to feed your soul, feed your internals. Like it gives you more strength than you believe. It gives you more value to life than you believe. It gives you a guidance, and in the end, everybody wants a purpose. Go and ask every hurt person you know what is matters in life. He will tell you family and purpose, because this is what the things you need. When you get to your death time, you want to know that you fulfill your purpose and you will try to do it at least.
I can tell you that in my family, when we were watching the video clips of you being released in that process, we cried tears of joy like I don't remember us doing before. And we were not the only ones. What does that tell you about Am Yisrael?
That it has a big family. It is a big family. It's a family that shows its strength in hard times, and sometimes when things are good, we do not see it and we start to fight between each other, as family does. And this is one of the signs that we are family, right? Nobody in the family always goes along because we feel that we can say whatever we want. We feel free to express our opinions, but sometimes we also forget that we need to love each other. Sometimes we forget that we need to hear the other's opinion and not be frustrated about his opinion, because maybe I can learn something from him and he can learn something from me.
And this brought that out in a really strong way.
Yeah.
Rabbi Lazar was in Israel for the wedding of his own daughter. Tell me about the time you met Rabbi Lazar right after being released and putting on tefillin with Rabbi Lazar.
So immediately when I came out, I think a day after, he was in a wedding in Israel and he came to see me. And I came, I didn't know who he is. I saw a rabbi and his wife and his kid. And he gave me such a big hug, like he was so happy about my release. And of course his wife was so emotional about it and his family and everything. And I didn't know this man. But my mother told me he did so much for you and everything. And I was immediately, when you see him, maybe because I came out of captivity and I was used to seeing so many new terrorists every time, I learned to pick up a sense of who is who. When I saw him, immediately I said, wow, this is a great guy, this is a good person, this is a great soul. Like I saw it immediately. And well, I hugged him willingly, although I didn't know him. And we did the pictures and everything. And of course he said, would you like to put tefillin? And I don't know, I never put tefillin before. But with him, it felt right. I said, yeah, why not? Of course. And we did it. And I prayed. I really prayed at this moment. I did my first Shema Israel from my heart, to get the other out. I really hope that they will get eventually be able to feel the same joy and happiness that I had with their families. And the ones who are deceased, I wish that they will return home so they can be buried and their families can close a circle, at least have a place to mourn. I can say about my father that being able to go to a grave, and it's hard. At first, when I saw his pictures and everything, I always cried. It was very hard for me to hold my feelings. But it's good that you can feel that you have a place, that you know that he is there, and you can come.
Which, I don't know if everybody watching, which wasn't the case right away.
Well, I don't know. I was in captivity, but it took some time to build it, yeah.
Both to find him and to relocate him and all that.
Yeah.
Final question for you, Sasha, because I'm so emotional from just even your journey. And I think you touched on it, is that it gives so many people the chizuk in whatever situation they're in to know there is hope and that we are one family. We might fight, but we are one family. Today, people are watching this on Tisha B'Av. Tisha B'Av is a day that we focus on Ahavat Yisrael, because the Beit HaMikdash was destroyed because of Sinat Chinam. Having gone through what you've gone through, the ups, the downs, the connection, your mother's connection, your connection, what message would you let Am Yisrael know is important for them to take today?
So I think we, Am Yisrael, need to be more connected to its roots and tradition. It's first. We need to be connected in order to understand that we are family And what exactly a family? Even the 12 tribes wasn't getting along all the time, but they knew that they are family and tried together to do something with their own strengths to collaborate. And this is the beauty of being different a little bit, but being able to collaborate together to do something greater and more beautiful. And also from the tradition and the heritage that we have, we can learn so many things about life and becoming a better person, at least from within ourselves. And then you spread out more goodliness, more care, and because you are healthier from inside, you will be able to heal other people from inside as well, and be more patient and be more tolerant and be able to listen to other people and not be always trying to prove your points, which is very important. I think in nowadays when everything is like out there, Instagram, you are right. No, just listen to other people and learn something from them. Come with this kind of agenda and be more vulnerable towards people. Be more out there. Try to connect to people around you. Try to share love, free love. I got so much free love and it helped me so much. People don't understand how much it helped me and my mother and my girlfriend and my fiance and everybody. And it helps so much. People don't understand. You don't need to buy it. It's not a material thing, but it's worth even more. So I encourage people to do that. And I hope that after what we experienced in October 7 and these horrific events and the war that was going on and so many people lost their lives, soldiers, hostages, civilians, everything, we will take this time and we'll tell ourselves we have enemies. We always had and we always will. And we as family need to stick together. This is our strength. The unity is not about being all together the same. It's about contributing each other with each own strengths and overcome the disadvantages of each one of us. So I hope that people will connect more, learn more about Judaism and tradition, and become a better person day by day.
Sasha, I just want to take this opportunity to wish you a Mazal Tov. Wish you both physically well, emotionally well, and you should continue to fulfill all your endeavors and continue to be an inspiration for all of Am Yisrael.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Chazak, chazak.